Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul, is in Louisville, where Vincentians bring Christ's love by serving up meals and providing shelter for those struggling to find both. Then we go to Seattle, where we'll meet members of a diverse conference organized to meet the area's growing Latino population. And on Long Island, Vincentians provide a helping hand and a much-needed second chance. These stories are just some examples of the good works of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul across the United States.
Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
Welcome to Louisville, Kentucky's largest city and home to historic Churchill Downs that hosts the annual Run for the Roses, better known as the world-renowned horse race, the Kentucky Derby. Not far away is the Cathedral of the Assumption, built in 1852. It's the oldest inland cathedral in the United States and the mother church of the first diocese west of the Allegheny Mountains. Welcome to Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul. I'm Michelle Wargo. St. Vincent de Paul Louisville has made housing programs the focal point of their work with the homeless. Trace Trilko shows us what's going on at the Society's campus.
This is like the best miracle I've ever had.
Janet Bowman is at peace thanks to the support of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. The Louisville woman has struggled with mental illness her entire life, eventually ending up behind bars. Needing a lifeline after she was released, she found structure in a St. Vincent de Paul Louisville housing program.
This apartment's called Tranquil House, and it's basically for people with mental illness that need structure. But it allows us to live independently. You know, we have our own space, but there's still that structure piece there and staff and so forth. And it's just like been a miracle to me.
Janet found a home at Tranquil House and volunteers at the adjacent Family Success Center on the Louisville SVDP campus, helping others while helping herself.
It's a win-win because number one, it gives me structure, it gives me something to do. So the last thing I really need is like a lot of free time. So this gives me structure, gives me a place to go.
Let me get area set up.
Kenneth Wilson, an Army veteran, lives on another part of the campus, the Ozanam Inn Men's Shelter.
They told me about this veterans program, and we are downstairs, and the VOA helps us, and they help us to get housing, and if our credit is low or we need something improving, they help us do that. They help us pay our deposit, our first month's rent, and help us get furniture.
St. Vincent de Paul Louisville programs helped keep Kenneth off the streets.
They've helped me in ways that at the time I couldn't help myself. And it's not that I couldn't, I just didn't know how because I never been in a situation like this before. And I won't say it's hard, it's just different. Places like this, like St. Vincent de Paul, it gives you a peace of mind, like, okay, I actually have a purpose.
Angela Smith has struggled with alcohol and drug abuse throughout her life. After turning to St. Vincent de Paul Louisville for help, which included a warm bed and a roof over her head, as well as treatment services, Angela says the assistance transformed her life.
Came in with clothes on my back and walked in and scared to death to be here, but been here for 4 months and they've helped me get clothing. They've done lots of clothing and they've got me set up with a couple of job things.
Angela is working hard in recovery and is thankful for what St. Vincent de Paul did to get her to where she is today.
My whole family would say a big thank you to them because they know that it's saved my life. My mother, she's got her daughter back. My daughters have got their mother back, and my grandkids have got their granny back.
Also here on the St. Vincent de Paul Louisville campus is the Open Hand Kitchen. Hot meals are served here, lunch and dinner, 7 days a week, nearly 150,000 every year.
The food is very, very, very good.
Very, very good. Yeah, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I'm grateful for them getting me off the street because I was on the street. I lost my house. I was on the street. Yeah, it's very, very grateful.
Elsewhere at St. Vincent de Paul, Louisville, the food pantry buzzes with activity. Started in 2014, the pantry provides food to hundreds of households in one of Louisville's poorest neighborhoods.
I've been getting help here for at least the last several years here, and they've been doing pretty good as far as supplying me with the foods and nourishment that I need for the month. It helps us extremely well because I was getting food stamps at the beginning of the year, but they cut me off, so now I really need the pantry to depend on them as far as my nourishment and food is concerned.
I've had a great experience here. They've helped me, beyond words. The food pantry is a blessing. We were able to come over here, I believe it's twice a month. And they provide us with canned goods, some fresh fruit, bread, all the basic is peanut butter, soup, all those basic essentials that you could just need, and it's nice to have on hand so you can make something for yourself.
John Bowling, a Vincentian with a conference at Holy Trinity Catholic Church, likes being able to assist his neighbors in need while providing dignity.
We try to make it as comfortable and relaxing as possible. We serve coffee every Tuesday and Thursday when we're open, and usually have cookies or donuts for everybody in there.
And you're making a difference.
Yes, you can tell that. A lot of people are very appreciative when they go out and say, "God bless you, thank you so much," and yeah, you can tell you're making a big difference.
Making a difference is something that occurs across every inch of the Louisville St. Vincent de Paul campus. Vincentian Richard Scher, with a conference at St. Agnes Catholic Church, says the work here helps lift people up from despair.
St. Vincent de Paul is always, the place to go. If you need, a night shelter, the food, and if you see someone on the street, begging for money, or then you always ask them, well, if you're going down to St. Vincent de Paul, whether to sleep, for a meal, whatever, or if they're having a drug problem or something else, check down there because they've got the resources. We have apartments for the family, or that, so they can get their lives back together and then move on.
Richard believes the Holy Spirit is present in every act of charity that occurs here.
We can just know that's Christ working in us. I just love, the smile of helping someone who is just so down, so out, that little bit gives them a smile on their face.
Smiles born out of life-changing actions. That's what the Society is all about. For Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul, I'm Trace Trolko.
Thanks, Trace. In addition to the housing programs we saw on the St. Vincent de Paul campus, the Society also offers off-site programs that help the chronically homeless and families. Also in Louisville, we catch up with a couple that found love amongst the vegetables. We'll explain. And just ahead, we'll show you how Vincentians in Washington State's first Latino conference are cutting through language and cultural barriers. When Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul returns.
Vincentians grow closer to God through working face-to-face with the poor. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul offers the chance to live your faith, grow spiritually, and develop Christian friendships while serving those in need. Through person-to-person service, food pantries, mentoring, advocacy, and more, the Society helps people move out of poverty to self-sufficiency. You can learn more at www.svdpusa.org.
These 4 oil paintings, hanging inside the sanctuary at the Cathedral of the Assumption, were originally used at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome in 1825. The paintings reflect the cathedral's mission to serve the poor. The Society started in Louisville and Central Kentucky in 1853 and has 29 conferences. Further west, Washington's first Latino conference is growing its outreach in the Seattle community.
Hola, buenas tardes. La señora Luz María Pardo?
Soy yo.
Vincentians Adelpha Moreno and Rosa Flores stopped by the home of Luz Marla as part of a home visit in Kent, Washington, just outside of Seattle. She welcomed the ladies into her home and allowed the Society of St. Vincent de Paul to share her story.
Porque soy la única que provee para el hogar.
She couldn't make ends meet, and now she is behind on her electricity bill.
La visita fue muy interesante.
The visit was very interesting. We found out about the dire need that she has as she is the head of household with 4 children at home.
Adelpha and Rosa were founding members of the Divine Providence Conference, which serves at a regional level supporting traditional conferences in the greater Seattle area. The first 100% Latino conference in the state of Washington.
This conference is called Divina Providencia, Divine Providence. It means that God provides. And this conference prayed before they selected that name. They understood that for Frederick Ozanam, the founder of the society, he was devout, strong devout of the Divine Providence.
Vincentian Mira Munoz is a member of the Divine Providence Conference. She says the home visit is a much more personable way to help struggling members of the community.
We can hear a story over the phone, but when we go into the home, the person that opens the door and welcomes in the members of the conference has an opportunity to really open their hearts and tell what's inside of them. Not just what they call about, what their need is, but what really is behind that need.
That connection and conversation can be difficult when there is a language barrier. Home visits not only take place in the comfort of the person's home, Vincentians speak in Spanish and use cultural knowledge to make an impact.
I feel fortunate to meet all these people. It helps me to be more humble, and I feel that I walk in the path of God and to serve my brothers and sisters.
Visitar a las personas.
I believe that it's very important to have a Spanish-speaking conference because we are well aware that there is a lot of need out there, and we're happy that we've started this conference just to bring some hope to people.
The foundation of the conference is to help Spanish-speaking residents in the greater Seattle area receive the help they need, assistance they might not have known was available.
A lot of the time, due to the language barrier, a lot of these people don't receive the assistance because there's no one that they can communicate with in their native language.
Vincentian Amarali Juarez says effective communication helps reduce instances of misinformation, especially on matters of immigration.
They don't have the right information. If somebody showed them the right information, they already know their rights. What can they do to get more help?
She needs help. Yeah.
The conference is unique for another reason. Divine Providence shares space and works alongside the traditional conference at Holy Spirit Catholic Church. It formed out of the work of Centro Rendu, the Seattle Society's special works project that serves the area's Latino community.
That's where they started. Many of them were students at Centro Rendu who came to educate themselves and find resources, and they started asking questions about the name Rosalie Rendu and the spirituality and St. Vincent and everything, and so they slowly, because they're in the same neighborhood, were able to slowly make their way here into Holy Spirit, where they were welcomed.
Conference Vincentians believe the work done here can be done nationwide, anywhere language is a barrier to getting people the help they need.
We're hoping to build the foundation and the model for future conferences throughout the state of Washington so that conferences in Spanish will begin and maybe expand to other states or nationally. It's very rewarding that we can utilize our bilingual skills, such as myself, and bring some peace and help people grow spiritually by us providing whatever it is that they're in need of.
The Divine Providence Conference serves a segment of the population that too often gets overlooked and falls through the cracks. Those served aren't the only ones who benefit from the outreach. Vincentians also grow closer to God during their conversations with their neighbors.
There is a lot of joy in my heart because I know Jesus was doing. I'm not saying I'm doing his job, right? But I'm doing kind of one of the piece of he was doing, right? Helping people, bringing hope, and I think I'm doing kind of the same path.
It is truly a blessing to be in part of an organization where I can grow spiritually and realize how fortunate I am to have what I have. So I feel very fortunate to be able to go into someone's home and let them know that there is hope, that they can get out of whatever problem it is that they have, whether it be if they can't pay their rent or they can't pay their utility, while at the same time helping them grow spiritually in whatever belief in God they have.
Divina Providencia, a blessing for those who serve and a godsend for those no longer underserved.
Since its inception, the Divina Providencia Conference has served more than 500 people in need. Just ahead, love is in the air in a nearby food pantry. But first, we learn how Vincentians have turned a house into a home for returning citizens on Long Island. The story coming up next on Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
From a spiritual aspect of it, we are rooted in prayer, and I think when we can help somebody, it just makes us that closer to God. If we're doing what He's asking us to do, we're putting our faith into practice.
Just across from the Cathedral of the Assumption, you'll find this painting of St. Vincent de Paul, located inside the Archdiocese History Center. Painted in 1878, it was later found in the St. Vincent de Paul Parish Rectory here in Louisville. For more than 30 years, St. Vincent's spirit has been thriving in an inviting home in a residential area on Long Island, New York. Paul Boron shows us how the Dismas House is providing returning citizens the opportunity to live successful lives.
In what may look like just another house in a quiet neighborhood on Long Island, New York, you'll find instead a home where lives are being transformed.
10, 11 people who have left, friends and role models, because they're gainfully employed, they save money, and they moved on. They got apartments, so they're back into society, functioning as a productive member of society.
George Daring knows from experience. Following incarceration, George transitioned back into the community with the support of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul of Long Island's Dismas House.
The most important thing that I found is that initially the transition is great, wonderful, and amazing because you could focus on your programs if you're on parole and doing certain things where you don't have to worry about a bed to sleep in, food to eat, a roof over your head, and you have volunteers and guidance, and they give you such helpful advice.
Dismas, the repentant thief who was crucified beside Jesus, serves as the inspiration for the Society's work in transitioning returning citizens. Getting back to basics can prove challenging. Dismas House, a departure from a traditional institutional setting, offers a safe and supportive environment structured to address the needs of the marginalized.
Dismas House is a bit of a miracle, right in a normal residential community We take in men from various state of New York institutions, men who are looking for a second chance, sometime a third, fourth, or fifth chance. And what we do here is we give them a safe and supportive environment, but we also give them some rules and procedures and accountability, and we strive to balance that.
Vincent Strinkowski works at Dismas House and says the first step in helping these men is not passing judgment on them.
Being judgmental is not productive here. I mean, you have to be observant. You have to try to understand where certain talk and behaviors are coming from. I mean, we try to meet every guy where they are.
Thank you. During the Society's annual Friends of the Poor walk, Michael Pistone volunteers by directing traffic. It wasn't long ago his life was lacking direction. Living at the Dismas House provided a much-needed second chance.
I found Dismas House and I decided to change, you know. I decided that, like a family setting and a home care. They gave me clothes and food, and it just changed my whole life and my attitude.
The new attitude has transformed Michael into a new and better version of himself. And much of that success is because of the support he receives at the Dismas House.
Accomplishment. Yep. Instead of coming here with 40 bucks and nowhere to go, I got about 10,000 in the bank now. I got my own vehicle. I mean, you know, what more can you ask for? I'm happy. I have a social life. I have a girl out east who I love, you know, very much. I got a second chance.
Tom Farrell of Vincentian with the conference at Maria Regina Catholic Church has been volunteering at the Dismas House nearly every Saturday morning for some 25 years.
I talk to the guys, I listen to them. If they want to discuss anything, I'm here to discuss. I am not a counselor. I don't have any background in what they do here. But I just thought that these guys, a lot of them just want somebody to talk to. And I'm a pretty good listener.
Tom is a wonderful man. He's a beautiful person, and I think of him like a father and a grandfather, and I have nothing but love and respect for him.
While George enjoys the conversations, it's Tom who gets so much more from sharing his time and being present.
It brings me a lot of satisfaction, you know, that I'm here able to help these fellas. There was some trepidation when I first came because I knew everybody here was just out of jail. And I had never been in an environment before where people are just out of jail. But after a week or two, it was coming home to the family.
Vincentian Diane Regan with the conference at St. Peter of Alcantara Catholic Church volunteers at Dismas House, preparing meals made with love while building friendships during every visit.
We do it. There's about 14 of us, I think, in the program, and we rotate. We come by twos because Vincentians are supposed to walk as twos, so we cook as twos. And, you know, from that very first meal, it's such a wonderful program. It's so rewarding that's what keeps me coming back, is the men here in this house and that meal and the fellowship.
Diane says the volunteers and the residents come together. It's much like a family dinner.
The meal starts with prayer, and it's just, you know, you feel the love of God around that table with you when I leave here at night, because we get here about, you know, 5:30ish, leave here about 8 o'clock. And when I drive home, I just feel special.
Sarah Lynn Vasili of Vincentian with the conference at St. Edward the Confessor Catholic Church also cooks at Dismas House. Sarah Lynn believes the meals are emblematic of the Society's person-to-person contact.
We give a hand up, not necessarily a hand out. And we really try to help people get back on their feet in all aspects of our work. You know, if there's financial difficulties, if there's illness, we try and help them to get back on their feet. It's really humbling to see how hard these residents are working to just come back into society.
Father Jerry Ringenbach, spiritual advisor for the Society on Long Island, says Dismas House is a spiritual program.
I think about the Matthew 25. Jesus uses this parable of the sheep and the goats, and he talks about, when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was in prison, you visited me. But Dismas House is saying, and when you left prison, we cared for you. And that's a critical moment in anyone who has been through the penal system. And I think St. Vincent de Paul Society has a great opportunity to help them. It's hard for us to get a sense of what it'd be like to return. And so I think we really do, through the spiritual program that we offer, it's not just, getting a job or, being able to reconnect with family, but it's also giving them a sense of their own spiritual worth.
For many who have come through this program and lived in this house, life has changed and for the better.
To rescue me and to accept me like that, was a wonderful thing. And I'm very grateful that I show it every day. Things are looking up, man. I'm real happy. I got a social life. I'm very happy.
Every day is a holiday and a blessing for me. And I truly thank God and everyone who's helped me and supported me. And now it's my turn to do well with their help and to give back. And I do it with a loving heart.
These men could easily have remained lost if not for setting foot inside this simple house in this friendly neighborhood. Along the way, they found a home full of love and support and a new purpose in life. For Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul, I'm Paul Borhan.
Thanks, Paul. The Dismas House has a track record of success. All told, more than 70% of residents go on to lead productive lives in the community. Let's end our time here in Louisville with a story about how the Society brings people together, sometimes in the most surprising of ways.
Between the shelves stacked with cans of peas and corn, love blossomed at this St. Vincent de Paul food pantry. Vincentians John Voling and Betsy Stannis knew each other from their parish, Holy Trinity Catholic Church, and through their service in the society as they worked alongside each other in the pantry. That's when the love bug bit.
Everything else kind of fell into place. We started dating, and then, like you said, December 23rd, he asked me to marry him, and I said yes.
John says the society brings together people who share similar values.
When you try to meet people online or other ways, the core values may not be the same, but when you're meeting somebody through church, you do more or less find somebody that has the core interests the same as you.
And you like being here together?
We do.
Yeah. Let's say that. Yes.
Such a cute couple, doing very important work. For Our Faith in Action, today's Society of St. Vincent de Paul, I'm Michelle Wargo.